I guess it is a day of firsts. I'm going to be introduced to another new channel that I have not looked at all, and I have not reviewed any videos from. But when I see the word Bugman, which has a lot of history, I tend to know kind of what I'm getting into. But since I know that I'm going to be dealing with a lot of brain hurt, let's go ahead and begin with fan art, because that is usually a realm of some kind of sanity. Some kind, usually not a lot of it. But starting the fan art off, we have this piece from Ghost Chan. Oh yeah, it's all gone to shit. Which, you know, is about how it feels most of the time. And then we have another fan art, and this one is from Moonstar. This is me telling people to please pay your fucking artists. Ironically, though, this is fan art, which means that I did not pay for nor commission it. So now I feel kind of dirty. Don't know how to feel about that. Anyway, moving on. The next piece is a Squirrel Suris by Sea Snake Jiri. And I guess I'm eating chocolate? Why would you feed a squirrel chocolate? Wait, nope. I've played Conker's Bad Fur Day. I know why you would feed a squirrel chocolate. I understand. It makes sense. That all said, thank you all for the fan art submissions as usual. And let's go ahead and get right into the video. But first, maybe I should point out that if you are wanting to submit fan art, the best way to do that is by hopping into the Discord and dropping it into the fan art section. And, you know, also go say hi in Northshire Abbey if you haven't already. All right. Let's go ahead and look at this video titled Bugman Invincible Fans Insist Invincible is Not Woke. Now, Bugman is a term that I've seen used by a lot of third positionists that are... It kind of describes people who are low common denominators in society who just consume media and talk about media and make their lives the media that they consume. A lot of people who use the terminology tend to also associate this with people who are consuming the Jewish media. I'm not really familiar with this person or his channel, so I don't know if he goes that far. So we're not going to go any further than that. We're just going to click the video, and we're just going to see what happens.
Sorry to my regular viewers who might be sick of Invincible content, but it's the gift that keeps on giving, and the angry comments I get are the gifts that keep on giving. Believe it or not, out of all the unpopular shit I talk about, all the social justice warrior shit, the stuff on race or politics, I think the first time in my life, actually no, the second time in my life, I should say, on the internet that I've ever gotten a death threat is over this fucking show. Now, it's not a real death threat, I know, it's just some angry bugman on the internet crying, saying...
Okay, so maybe if he's gonna actually use the terminology in the actual video, then maybe it's a good idea to look at what is a bugman. Maybe it's a good idea to actually get a definition for this term. Okay? What is bugman? Aesthetically, they're much like their name. Bug-eyed, jittery, and insect-like. Their very demeanor often makes one's skin crawl. You're more than likely surrounded by hordes of these bovine-esque people in day-to-day life. Culturally, of course, they are near impossible to pin down, for they cut all cultural roots at the base in fear of representation with the past. Okay, there's some palingenesis shit there. That already makes me a little uncomfortable. Politically, many say Bugman are left-leaning, yet I'd argue the case that any affiliation with politics is entirely with the curve of the populace, and thus the Bugman at present inject themselves routinely with viral strains of progressivism, neoliberalism, and especially democracy. Projected from this ambivalent attitude towards history and politics comes anti-empathetical extravisions with regard to tradition, myth, folklore, spirituality, and interest, all of which, when positioned in relation to a bugman, are only alongside heavy doses of post-modernist irony. That's some Jordan Peterson bullshit there. The simple matter of fact is that they have zero respect or tolerance for anything antiquated or traditional. Yay, more palingenesis. Yay. The most minor of historical morsels that doesn't actively sell itself to them or project their personal vision of infantile tech utopia is cast aside. Philosophically, the Bugman is relatively confused, often mistaking logic, reason, and rationale with one another, and replacing the idea of basic causality with their own drawn-out narcissistic attempts. Look at me! I've got it all figured out, the Bugman says internally. Okay, but kind of weird coming from an article that sounds like it's written by somebody who thinks they've got it all figured out. Before you sits the social nervous system of the Bugman, true, a sordid mixture of fad reverence and capitalist light binging. On closer inspection of the day-to-day life of a Bugman, one finds at its core the implementation of social erosion. Everything that is taken from its origin is likewise bastardized into a regressive, virtual stir-crazy version of its formal self. Esports, fantasy football, copy and paste, Vidya, a la Bethesda and Ubisoft, new atheism, beards as personality, etc. Each of these characteristics is filtered through the latest piece of cutting-edge, high-brand technology the Bugman can afford. One may have noticed already that Bugman's personalities are nothing more than the accumulation and composition of various popular brand names, technologies, TV shows, bands, etc. The Bugman is entirely defined by that which they consume. Thus, the Bugmen easily assimilate into their own groups, for their archetypes and traits are based off of material possessions. As such, grouping is quick, painless, and has the added benefit of instantaneous conversation. Sweet mechanical keyboard, dude. And we're not going to really go into more of the article. Hopefully you kind of get the point. Basically, anybody who lives in our current neoliberal society and likes TV shows and associates heavily with them, say somebody who says they're a fan of Mario as an example, would qualify as a Bugman. And, well, the argument here seems to be very clear. These are people that are lower than low. So is this just nihilism? No. Nihilism can actually be fucking trendy. You can actually be, like, you can be an optimistic nihilist and not have any problems at all. This is just cringy as shit. I'm not going to read through the responses. I don't think there's any reason to read through the responses. Kiosuke, thank you very much for the Pride bits, because we are beginning Pride Month. Alright, let's get back to the thing, now that we've actually defined Bugman. Man, that was a fucking 5-minute tangent. Jesus.
Saying that not just me, but half the population should be killed, because I'm obviously a big, bad, homophobic, racist conservative. But the other one, of course, was some Hotep guy who was really mad when I said that black people weren't actually the pharaohs of Egypt. That Nubians actually didn't run ancient Egypt. Yeah, that's the only other time that's ever happened to me, believe it or not.
Now I'm curious. I'm just curious about that claim. What race were the pharaohs? Let's see here. They were your Africans. Okay. Reddish all over yellow skin tones. Were there any black pharaohs? In 8th century BCE, Kushite rulers were crowned as kings of Egypt, ruling a combined Nubian and Egyptian kingdom as pharaohs. Huh. Weird. Isn't it great to be, like, proven wrong by Google almost immediately? Awkward.
I've had a good run of people not threatening to kill me on the internet. Anyway, this video, I'm going to try to keep it short as best I can, much as I can totally rant about the show. This video is about the thumbnail that you can see. I need to explain to you, again, that there are a lot of people who say that this show is, quote, not that woke, or even, in fact, not woke at all. So, if you'll remember, in episode 8, there's the scene where Omni-Man is delivering the big twist to Invincible. And
okay, so, spoilers real quick for anybody who hasn't seen Invincible yet. We are in spoiler territory, and I'm sure this is going to be the thing that causes Dude McBro here to go, aha, look, you're a woke Bugman. Dude, I don't give a shit about your opinion. I don't. Anybody who unironically uses that fucking term, I actually don't care about your opinion. Alright? Let's go ahead and play the clip.
And he's explaining that how was a soldier from Vitrium and that his job is to, quote, weaken Earth.
Viltrum.
Although I don't understand how he, quote, weakened Earth by protecting it for 20 years. That makes no fucking sense. I'm sure that's something that may have actually been explained in the comics, but not in the show. I digress. He was explaining that how he was like a soldier for Vitrium, and how Vitrium's some sort of kind of like this fascist state where they killed the weak and had to kill over 50% of the population to like purify the bloodline and shit. And he said he believed in this cause and that he was eventually the leader of his own like battalion of Vitrium's soldiers, right? So he's like a leader of the Vitrium army, apparently. Not like the leader, but a leader, right?
Yeah, he basically was a general in the Viltrum army because he's a Viltrumite. Yeah, everybody's like Viltrum, not Vitrium.
So the image on the show, right, is different when he's explaining that he was proud and that he was a leader than the comics. In the comics, Omni-Man is depicted as a leader facing a squad or a battalion or whatever, pictured on the screen, or on the panel I should say, are 12 people. All of them are white, although that's just, you know, they're space aliens. They're not white human beings, but they look like white human beings.
White would still work here. White's a socially constructed piece of shit thing. It doesn't actually describe a race in any way that we can, like, nail down.
For the purpose of a representation, they're white human beings. You know what I mean. They're all white. They're all male. They all have mustaches. And they all look almost exactly like Omni-Man himself. There is actually very little difference in facial features, and then some differences in hair. And that's about it, right? Now, take that exact same scene in the TV show. Okay? So we have 11 people pictured. 4 of them are women. 5 of them are black. Only Omni-Man himself is white. Also, Omni-Man is...
Wait, so the women aren't white? That's weird. I don't remember that.
He's not standing here as a leader facing a squad.
Yeah,
he is a member of the squad.
Yeah, because he's said to be one of the many generals that are sent out. Like, okay, so the difference here... It seems that in the comics, it's shown as he's the leader of a squad doing things, whereas within the show, what we are shown is almost a group of leaders being picked. These are different scenes almost. But even then, I don't see how just having different races on Viltrium suddenly makes it woke. When did it... I got a question, chat. When did this fucking talking point begin? Where having more than just white people portrayed in media makes it woke? When did that shit fucking happen? Who started that? Was it no bullshit? Was it Brooks? Oh boy.
Facing his leader, who is the smallest person present in the shot, a woman. She's a disabled woman. She has an eye patch. And she has this...
She has an eye patch likely because the entire scene they showed before in the show were all of the Viltrumites fucking stabbing each other and killing each other. What would you expect? That's like saying, oh yes, no. The U.S. Army is going woke because we have a general with an eye patch. What the fucking shit?
Really fucked up hairdo. Now, I know I'm not one to talk about fucked up hair, but this chick straight up looks like she has radiation poisoning. Like, she's all fucked up looking. But apparently she is the commander, and Omni-Man is Private Pile over here.
Okay.
Not that woke, huh? There's just no reason at all why we would go from Omni-Man leading a group.
Okay, so I just have to say this right now. This is really upsetting me, and it has nothing to do with your video. It has everything to do with the microphone you're using scratching against your fucking beard. Holy fuck. I know that I'm not one to complain about audio issues, given the amount of times that my sound balancing is completely off. But holy crap.
Group of the Vitramites who are very clearly, I mean, I'm just going to guess and say it's clearly, but I bet you I'm right, that it's not by accident in the comic that not so much that they're all white men, but they all look exactly alike.
Could it be, perhaps, can we use Occam's razor? Can we use Occam's razor for a second? Okay. Could it not be that in the comic, when Robert Kirkman was making the comic, they all looked the same because he's a single panelist and he's making a panel quickly so he can go on to the next panel? Whereas in the TV show, where you have an animation team that are able to make hundreds of unique models much faster than a single individual could, would it not make a lot more sense for the TV show to show more diversity because it's less labor intensive for them to manage it because they have a stronger labor force? Wouldn't that make sense? I don't know. If I just go by what is most likely, the idea that a differently sized labor force was part of constructing these two mediums is where my brain goes.
In the scene, there's probably this kind of fascist, conformist, militaristic society type reason for that. And instead, even our villains have to be diverse. Omni-Man is also, I think, as far as I can tell in this shot, although the angle's kind of weird, probably one of the smaller men present. And everyone else is either obviously of this kind of Asian complexion or Indo-European complexion. Just something, not Indo-European, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the fancy word for Indian? Like Indian Asian or Asian Asian or Hispanic brown, which, you know, whatever.
That was weird.
Now, it's not completely out of line for Vitrium for everyone to look the same. Okay, it's also not completely.
How is it based on what?
Completely out of line for all the characters present to be men.
Okay, but it's equally not out of line for them all to be different. Based on the zero information at the time it was written that we have on Viltrum, it makes equal sense for them to be all one thing or all another, or all fucking green. When we are getting our reveal, that's when we're learning about Viltrum. It would make sense at that point to have literally anything there.
Since it's a militaristic society. However, I could almost forgive the presence of women, given that these are magical, superpowered creatures that...
You can forgive the presence of women in a military? Oh, come off it, dude.
Can fly and do crazy, ridiculous Dragon Ball Z shit. So, actual physical... what's the word I'm looking for? Physical examples of strength, endurance, and ability to withstand harm.
I have a question. Can anybody name a single female in the military who could probably break every bone in this guy's body in a fight? They probably could, right? That's not me trying to do a thread of violence or anything like that. That's just me trying to point out that, you know, maybe if you're gonna say, I can forgive women being in a military, dude, try not fucking with military women. Maybe a good idea not to.
Doesn't make a lot of sense for, like, that to even matter. Like, you could be a midget on Vitrium and probably still be a complete fucking badass because it's magic, and it's just a matter of, like, how good is your superhero magic, you know? But, the thing is,
Guy has a weird definition of magic. in a world where magic exists and it's not the same thing as, like, the physical capabilities of Viltrumites. The physical capabilities of Viltrumites basically come down to biology. They're not the same thing as magic, which is something that is showcased in the show. There are superheroes that have magic as their ability. And it's a completely different thing to what Omni-Man showcases. Omni-Man's a brute.
It's deliberate. And it's also the fact that if you watch Invincible, the TV show, there are more black or brown people in the show, even background characters, foreground characters, than white people at all times.
Okay, and how does that make something more or less woke? Oh no, there's some people of color here. Somebody call the woke police.
Now, I did want to make a joke about that kind of and think, well, at first you go like, well, it almost kind of looks like lives in an idyllic society, so it's kind of
Wait, Marx? Where the fuck does Marx come into this?
unrealistic given that every city in America where blacks are 50% of the population are the highest crime.
Really? We're doing the fucking 1350 shit? Really? 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 We're getting here. We're in the fucking 1350 territory? Really? I'm not going to do this right now. I'm just going to show you guys a thing, okay? Okay? I'm not going to go into all of my points on the 1350 shit right now. I'm not. What I will do instead is I will point to a video I did a year ago in my Dangers of Wu series on the statistical pseudoscience used to make up the 1350 statistic, which he just fucking dog whistled.
This video was brought to you by the
Shut up, me! Nobody likes you. Also, for anybody wondering the information that I pulled for that actual video, I have shit from Yale University, I have shit from multiple different sources backing up everything that I say in this video. Every single thing. So, you can literally look up Suris 1350, and it will bring up this video. If you really want me to go into my opinions on that whole fucking dog whistle, I do it there. Okay? Okay, let's finish up the dumbass video.
Lowest quality of life cities in the fucking country, and people are fleeing them in droves. But then you think about, well, Mark actually lives in a shithole where crime is actually rampant, as are Ancient One attacks, meteor apocalypses, and alien invasions. So maybe it makes perfect sense. Maybe the show's actually red-pilled and based, everybody.
Red-pilled and based, everybody. Red-pilled and based. Okay, you know what? No. First of all, Alt Monarch, thank you very much for the follow. Secondly, I have to say this. These fucking terms, Bugman, Red Pill, Based, these are terms that literally only exist in some of the most toxic spaces on the internet. I know that's not an argument against them. I know what the fucking terms mean. I'm able to parse them in language. But anytime somebody uses one of those terms, it's like wearing a MAGA hat. It's like that, it's a thought-terminating cliche, and I can't help it. The minute that I hear it, practically any thought that the things that are going to come out of your mouth are reasonable goes out the window for me. Completely.
Anyway, this is long enough for just this one little topic, but dude, I could go on and on and on. The more that I'm learning about this franchise, the worse this show is. Okay? By a lot. Thanks for watching.
Because it has black people and women in it. Apparently. The show has black people and women in it. Therefore, it's bad. I guess. Oh my god. Anyway. That was certainly an experience. That was certainly a thing that we watched on the internet. Anyway. Now that I have learned to hate every fiber of my being, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below, or in the chat if you're watching over on Twitch. If you are watching over on Twitch, you should follow. If you are not watching over on Twitch, you should go over to Twitch and follow. Outside of all that, thank you all for watching. If you want to support my channel and what I do, Patreon and other things are in the description. You have the ability to do that. With all that said, though, thank you all for your view. And I'm going to go nurse a newly found headache. As always, everyone, insert end the video tagline here.